Talk about trust, man. You put your trust in Joyce when you was a DJ, huh?
In who?
Joyce, who used to hand you the records?
Oh, my God. You know about Joyce? Brother, you too deep.
And you will know my name is Dstroy, my brother.
Sirius XM Shade 45, Control Alt Dstroy. I am Dstroy, and I gotta tell you, DC Comics, Marvel Comics create superheroes, and here I am with the iconic Jimmy Jam. What's up, young man? How you doing?
What's up, man? Yeah, man.
Throwing them first pitches at Father's Day for the Dodgers?
Hey, man. I'm having fun, man. I like, my whole thing is now that I'm old. We talked about it before. I'm a senior citizen now, right?
Yeah.
I just want to do things that I haven't done before. You know, and so that's like one of those things, man. They say, yeah, you want to come out and throw a first pitch? I'm like, heck yeah. I did, and I even got to play the organ. I did at both the Dodgers game, I played the organ, and the Minnesota Twins game, I got to come up and play the organ.
Look at this guy.
I loved it because it's like things I thought about as a kid. Like, I wonder what it's like to play the organ at a game, and I got a chance to do it. So
look at this.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Got to find stuff to do that you haven't done before.
Yeah, especially being a golf legend out of nowhere. What's going on over here? This is pretty iconic.
Hey,
salute to Johnny Gill and all the homies. Right?
Johnny Hill, rub you the right way.
Now, of course, you became an Upward Bound icon, and you would go on to do the Walker Art Center and Guthrie Theater. Now, the last letter you need, though, for that EGOT is a Tony, son, fam. Like, we ever attempted to hit something there?
Well, you never know. There's been, actually, it's funny. Tony is interesting because there has been some talk about, because of our music catalog, about doing a musical. Either a Rhythm Nation musical or some sort of musical that kind of encompasses a bunch of our songs. And, we'll see. But as I say, you got to get the book right. The story has to be right. That's the important thing for those types of things. But no, I love that. And yeah, the Broadway thing we've never done. But, one of these days.
Yeah. Now, being a young cat passing by the theaters, you ever was inspired by that bug?
Yeah, sort of. I got it, but it was something more. My parents were really into it. I have friends that are into it. And recently there's been some things that I've seen that I've absolutely loved. And I think, as it did for a lot of people, like something like Hamilton, like totally changed my whole perception of what something could be.
Let's go.
So I think because of that, but once again, it's got to be in the hands of the right people. And it has to be something that we feel we can do well. Because some of it, it's not that we can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
But can we do it well?
Yes.
And if we can't do it well, I always feel like I'm too old to do stuff that I'm no good at. That's why I gave up golf, by the way.
Yeah,
I quit golf.
You was trash.
I gave up golf, man, because I said I'm too old to be doing this. I'm no good at it, and I'm not going to get good at it. But my kids play; they're great.
Yeah,
so just let them carry the torch.
Yeah, you learn some great lessons from watching that golf.
I love being out on the golf course and all that. It's super cool, And you definitely learn a lot about people.
Yeah,
whether they honest, whether they cheat, whatever. You learn about the little habits of people.
Look
out
at
there,
this, man. Let's call these cheaters out.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on.
Absolutely.
Let's go, man.
Absolutely.
What's going on over there? Your relationship with your dad has been coming back together after all these years.
Yeah.
Now, this is special because you also have this book situation where people can know this story and learn about relationships with their dads and the adversity you had. How much does that mean to you to get that knocked out?
It means a lot. Firstly, on a personal level, my dad and mom used to argue all the time because my dad really wanted to pursue a music career.
Yes.
And he couldn't do it because he had gotten married and he had me and he had to work a regular job and do that. And I remember one day he went to work and just never came back. And I remember later on, I dropped out of high school. And I remember telling my mom, I want to drop out of high school to pursue music. And she said to me, as long as I see you really going for it, it's cool. Now, I thought she was going to hit the ceiling, but so the fact that she said that was really weird. So now fast forward all these years later, probably 2-3 years ago, I was telling somebody that story, and they said, do you think the reason she let you do your dream, pursue your dream, is because she didn't let your dad pursue his? And I thought, I got to get in touch with this brother. Because we had been estranged for 50 years at this point. And I needed to let him know that I didn't harbor any resentment or any bitterness for him leaving. But all the lessons that he had taught me as a kid when he was around, I've taught it to my kids.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to lift that from him and make him feel like he was cool. And I went back and played with him on his 95th birthday. He said, would you come up and play with me?
Wow.
And I went up and visited him with my son. I had one of my sons with me. And it was funny because we got in the room together and he started telling these stories. And it was the same stories I would tell my son.
Yeah.
And it was just that connection, man. And the girl that wrote the book, her name is Andrea Swinson, and you may know her. She's written a lot of stuff with Prince and Purple Rain and just all kinds of different books and stuff.
Iconic.
Yeah, she's very cool. And she was the one that kind of hooked us back up together. But when she was writing my dad's book, she said, would you come on? I meet with him every Tuesday. Come to the house, or no, come in on Zoom, and we'll have a discussion about things he can't remember and that kind of thing.
Special.
So we started doing that, and literally every single Tuesday for the next 2 years, we talked and told these stories and reminisced and all of that, and it also brought us back together, brought us closer together. And now there's a book to show for it called Deeper Blues.
Now, in this book, do we talk about little James bothering him when he was trying to get him to go, and he's like, no, I got to shake everybody's hand.
Yes.
He made sure.
That was the funny thing, because my kids, like if we're at an event, if we're at the Grammys or we're somewhere, they always say, you're closing the room. Like, you always are the last one taking pictures and shaking people's hands. And I said, yeah, because I don't know how far people have come, and this might be their only chance to ever meet me.
Right.
I want to make sure I spend the proper time with them. Well, that was the same thing as I was a little kid. My dad would do the same thing at his gigs. People would come up and want to take pictures, and I'd be like, Dad, can we leave? And he'd go, no, you have to. Right. So that's the kind of thing. I mean, those kinds of moments, to be able to share that with.
I spoke to him. He said that's why he bounced.
Yeah, that's right.
He's like, he ain't let me talk to the fans, man. I'm out on this James-looking kid. I am here with Jimmy Jam, bunk bed legend, with an AM radio, listening to the Turtles, Seals, and Crofts.
Yes,
And
that's
were
right.
you able to work the walkie-talkie Morse code thing or what?
I had one of those, but I didn't know. The only one I knew was SOS, right? That's the only one I knew. I had that whole alphabet, though, but I never could. And nobody else could do it anyway, so it didn't matter. But it was cool that it was on there.
Yeah. A nice little silly feature that
I
nobody used.
I had mine was it was from Sears. It was called a base station.
Yeah.
And it had like the whole thing. It was because it basically an AM radio, but it had the whole thing with the little thing on the side. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Cool. Central High School legend, Mr. Hamilton, ever got to see you be great?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think he was around, although I mean we lost touch, after high school and all that, but yeah, I think he was probably around. I think most of the people that knew us back when we were younger, like even back, you mentioned Upward Bound, the Upward Bound days when I met Terry, which was 51 years ago now. They're 52 now.
Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, but all of those people, I come across people all the time that they'll go, man, you remember Upward Bound? I remember when you were at Upward Bound. And I'm like, well, send me pictures and send me stuff. Now, so I really love that when people do that, because it's fun to reminisce. And, once again, as we're working on our documentary, that's like the kinds of things that you want. You want those old pictures and those old memories of people and stuff.
And in this documentary, are you going to talk about you curving Robert Palmer or what? Come on.
Robert. You know what's so funny about this? I actually spent New Year's Eve with Nile Rodgers. And we were talking about when he didn't mean to turn you on. When Robert Palmer didn't mean to turn you on. He asked us to produce it, and he did send the demo of it. And he was singing, and he was like, you read me wrong. And we were like, no, that doesn't sound like the Sherelle version that we did. We're like, we didn't have nothing for him. And so he went and did it himself with Bernard Edwards, who was Nile Rodgers' partner back in Chic. He did it with him. And I remember we were at the studio one day and we're watching, I think, MTV or something. And we didn't have the sound on. We're just watching the picture. And we saw the girls from the Addicted to Love video, which was his first big hit, or one of his first big hits. And I remember the girls were all dressed in black instead of in white.
Yeah.
And we were like, damn, I wonder what that is. And then the Chiron came on and said, didn't mean to turn you on, Robert Palmer. And I said, oh, he did the song. We had no idea he'd even done the record.
Holy smokes.
And it ended up being a huge record. I think it got to number 2. It didn't get to number 1. It did get to number 2. So
for sure.
Pretty cool, man. And yeah.
Absolutely.
It was great.
In Die Hard, they had that character, but you actually worked, and this is how we connected with the young actress from Fame, John McClane, huh?
Yeah, John McClane, man.
Yeah.
That's different person, but same name. Yeah, but John McClane, yeah, he was the A&R person at A&M, and he was the one that hooked us up with Janet. As a matter of fact, he was supposed to do another artist, and that artist didn't want to work with us. And he said, man, I'm embarrassed, man. Who else you want to work with on the label? And we said, send us a list. So he faxed us a list. This is before, internet.
Yeah.
He faxed us a list. We looked at the list. Our fingers both stopped on Janet's name. We said, we'll do Janet. He said, you want to do a couple songs? We said, no, we want to do the whole album. He said, really? We said, yeah.
Fire.
And that's how that happened.
Now, check this. So you walking around with this Janet Jackson-looking young lady, and she's telling you stories around the lake, and she's like, yo, 3 days in, when are we going to work?
Yeah.
And you're like, we've already been working.
Yeah, we already started.
Because you worked, you write in Ctrl.
As she's telling us the story, because the cool thing about Janet at that point in time, she had done the 2 albums before, but nobody had really asked her opinion, like what she wanted to write about and that kind of stuff. So she didn't realize she was writing the songs as she was having the conversations with us.
Yeah.
So when we just said, when I was 17, I did what people told me, did what my mother said, did what my father said, let my mother mold me.
Yeah.
When we showed her those lyrics, she said, this is what we're talking about. She said, that's what we're going to write about? Yeah. So then she had all these different ideas. So for us, it was just a matter of including her in the process of writing. And that's why those albums to me worked. And also to give her aggressiveness. Like the tracks we did for her were like tracks that you'd give to a dude or you'd give to
so was
like
that
a hip hop artist.
Was that any, because you say even in one song where you think she has a cold, that's
Yes.
why she's a low
Nasty,
octave.
nasty.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah, when she
I thought she got hit by a car with the car sound effect in that song. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, damn, Janet got hit by a car as a kid. Damn.
Yeah, that was that was funny. The car crash, that was in Control actually.
Yeah.
Right? It was kind of like when she was young and we saw her on the TV shows, she always had all this attitude. But she didn't have any of that attitude. So we were like, let's give her some songs that can give her that attitude back. And Nasty, when she started singing Nasty, she was like, sitting in the movie show. I was like, no. Sitting in the movie. Like when you have a cold, like sing it like that,
Yeah.
And those kinds of things really work. And she got to trust us, right? Because we tell her to do something that she wasn't, used to doing.
Right.
But then when it would work, she'd go, oh, okay, it's cool. And then the trust has been there, man. So we've been working with her for over 40 years.
Talk about trust, man. You put your trust in Joyce when you was a DJ, huh?
In who?
Joyce, who used to hand you the records?
Oh, my God. You know about Joyce? Brother, you too deep. Yes, Joyce used to hand me the records. Joyce would come every week. I worked at this place called the Dstroy, and I was a DJ. And every week she'd come with a record, and she'd go, this is the record. But she'd always say, but me and my friends will dance to it, so you don't have to worry about clearing the dance floor, right? So I remember she brought me this one record, Dance With Me Tonight by MFSB, and the 12-inch version. I remember I put it on, and dance floor cleared.
Mm-hmm.
Then her friends all got on the dance floor, and by the time the song got about a minute in, the dance floor was packed. It was my all-time biggest record, at least at that club. That was a teen club called the Dstroy. That was my all-time biggest record in that club. That record was like my number one record for 3 months or something, man. And I told the record store guy,
Hot Licks.
Hot Licks. Oh, man, you know too much. The Hot Licks guy, I told him, Chico Fat Fingers was his name.
Yeah.
And I told Chico, I said, man, you better order like 300 of these, man, or whatever, 500 or whatever. He ordered like 100. And he said, yeah, man, we sold out. And I said, yeah, dude. I said, because you didn't order enough of them, trust me. But that got me the relationship with that. Another one she did that with was Firecracker, Mass Production. That was another one. But yeah, she was my girl back then. Yeah. Joyce. Man, ooh, you know too much, brother. I love this.
Something you must love as a dad is when Max hears a new song and then he reverts back to the original.
Mm-hmm.
That must be great. You as a music creator and stuff like that. That must be really awesome.
It was funny because there's been a ton of songs. I can't remember what the song was, but there was a song he heard it had the Earth, Wind, and Fire Reason sample, but the one from the Devotion sample, where it has the yeah, right? And I remember he went and got Devotion, but he said, man, that part's not on there. And I said, no, you got to have the live version of Devotion, not the studio version.
Oh.
And then he found it. But then, yes, whenever he'd hear a song, he'd go back and find the origin of whatever that song was, like wherever it came from. And I love that he had that in him. He still has that in him. We talk about that all the time whenever he hears a song, and I'll go, now you know that was, and he'll go, oh yeah, Dad, I know that was so-and-so. And so. Like he knows the whole history of everything.
Last question, man. Were you there when Rihanna performed with some band from the 80s?
Yeah, some band from the 80s, exactly. I remember people were so hyped about Rihanna performing with The Time, and I remember they kept asking her, how is it to perform with The Time? Isn't that going to be great? And she goes, yeah, there's this band from the 80s. And, it was so funny, man. But it was a great experience. And also it was great because historically there had never been, I was the chairman of the Recording Academy at that point. There had never been a chairman that had performed on the show at that point. And the whole premise of Ken Ehrlich, who was the producer of the show at that point, he said, you're going to come out like you're going to give a speech. And then Jerome's going to come out and put a guitar around your neck.
What?
And then y'all are going to do your thing. And so when we did that performance, it was great. So it was The Time and Rihanna, but then we redid Don't Stop the Music, which was her single, and made it like a Time record. And at the end, of course, they all did their thing together. So it was wonderful.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, this gentleman right here has to go back to the supermarket and get some discounts. What we doing over there? Jimmy Jam, thank you so much for being amazing. I could only imagine what a birthday party is with you and Prince, because y'all just one day apart.
One day apart, yes,
You
sir.
know, salute. Hopefully that bucket list happens with either Michael McDonald, Thundercat, or Sade,
yes.
or Kalani. You had a good time, young man?
I had a wonderful time, man. Can't wait to do it again.
Let's go, man. Once again, life is amazing when you get to hang out with superheroes like Jimmy Jam right here on Ctrl or Dstroy. Holy moly!